Hello, students. Here we are again, trying to make sense out of life. And one of the best tools for making sense out of life is logic. And so we're going to dive right in, picking up where we left off last time. Now, what we want to think about are arguments. But before that, we're going to have to think about the basic building blocks of arguments, which are called statements. Right? Statements. Right? And we're also going to talk about propositions. Okay. A proposition is the meaning of a statement, and a statement is always a declarative sentence that claims something is true or false. Okay. If I say it's a sunshiny day, then I mean to insert that it's a fact that it's sunshiny. And if you go outside, you'll see the sun shining down, and it will be clear and not overcast, and the sunshine will be everywhere. And that assertion will then either be true or it will be false. This means that statements are different from commands, questions, and exclamations. Since sentences like the following, which I'm about to show you, are neither true or false. They're not statements, and they don't express proposition. Now, if I asked, "Are you bored yet?" that's what we call an interrogative sentence, and it's neither true nor false. Or I could say, "Pay attention to me." And that would be an imperative sentence. Or sometimes we just make exclamations, like one of my favorites, "Aim-a-ho." A Tibetan exclamation that means, "How wonderful, how marvelous." Or if I just bump my finger, I could say, "Ouch," and that would be an exclamatory sentence. And it wouldn't have any truth value either, because it's not making a claim, right? So the proper grammatical form of a proposition, then, is the declarative sentence or statement. Such a sentence or statement is meant to express information that is either correct or not. It either conforms to how things really are or it doesn't. Since propositions, expressed in statements, do assert something to be true or false, we say they have a truth value. And every proposition has a truth value, whether or not we know it's true. We do not know right now, for example, whether it's true or false that there's life on other planets. But if I say there is life on other planets, it is true or false, even if I don't know if it's true or false. Okay? And it's the proposition as the unit of thought that interests the logician. Now, we can also distinguish between propositions and the sentences which assert them. So consider the following sentence. Politics is boring. Politik es ennuyé. Politica está aburrido. Politik ist langweilig. Ah, du hast recht. Politica jest nudna. Now, all of these sentences express the same proposition, right? They all are saying the same thing or making the same claim. So a sentence, then, is a part of a certain language, as our first sentence is in English, the second in French, the third in Spanish, the fourth in German, and the fifth in Polish. All of these sentences are different, yet they express the same meaning. And sentences in the same language can be different as well, and yet still mean the same thing. Consider this statement. Right? Jim is mortal if he is human. If Jim is human, then he is mortal. And human Jim is. If mortal, he may be a young Jedi. Right? Now, all three of these sentences are true or false under exactly the same circumstances. They have the same truth value, and yet they're different. Now, the first two sentences reverse the physical order of the if-then, and the third one goes all Yoda on us. But they all mean the same thing. So we can define a proposition as follows, and this is my definition. You won't find it in your textbook. Sometimes in my lectures, I'll tell you things you won't find in your textbook, so you need to pay attention to the lectures. And you want to pretend you're in class with me. Well, you are in class with me, but in a funny kind of class. But you want to pretend you're right there in front of me, and I can look down and see if you're taking notes or not. And if you weren't taking notes, I might say, "Oh, Joe, you must have a perfect memory because you're not taking any notes." right? Okay. On the other hand, you do have an advantage here. You can replay this again when you study. So that's cool, right? There are some cool things about this online stuff. Not too many at all in my opinion, but there are a few things that are kind of nice. Like maybe you're sitting outside under a tree, zipping a cool brew while you listen to this. That would be nice. Anyway, here's the definition of a proposition. A proposition is the meaning of a statement, which is a declarative sentence, and so it's not an exclamation, command, or question. It's what the sentence asserts or claims to be the case, and so must be either true or false. It's not identical with the written or spoken sentence. So like, it's raining, il pleut, and it's regnant all assert the same claim, but they're very different sentences. So, if we were in class, I'd actually hand this out to you and go around the room and ask you one after another to identify if the following is a proposition or not, and to tell me why not. But since we can't do that, I'm going to give you a minute. I'll read it out, and then you try to imagine what you'd tell me if I'd called on you in class, right? And maybe when we do a Zoom session, I might do that, or I might not. We'll see. The first one is, it is raining. Okay. Well, that's a declarative sentence. It makes a claim. It could be true or false, whether it's raining or it's not. But number two, what is going on here? Well, that's called an interrogative. It's a question, and a question has no truth value. Then we have three here. Plato was born in ancient Greece. Right? Well, that makes a claim. It's a declarative sentence that makes a claim and expresses a proposition, so it has truth value. Right? It's a proposition. But how are you, number four, is not a proposition. It has no truth value. If I said, let's have lunch, right? That's an imperative or a command, right? And it's not a proposition. Ouch is an exclamation, so it's not a proposition. Please close the door is an imperative, so it's not. Now look at number 8. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1994. Now that's either true or false. It's false, but it's still a proposition because it makes a claim, right? Remember, a proposition is a statement that can be either true or false. Number 9, the Earth orbits the Sun. That makes a claim, and it's true or false, so it's a proposition. And here I have a typo. Print your name in ink, number 10. That's not a proposition. It's an imperative, a command. And stop is the same thing. It's another imperative or command. Okay. So that's it for this. I've decided I'm going to do these in mini lectures. Your first two I gave you were like 40 minutes, which would be the equivalent of lectures I'd do in class. But I think I'm going to record these in little mini bites for you to look at and think about. And we'll talk more about this and plan it all out and figure it out as we go along. So I'll see you soon from my little hideaway here. While the plague rages outside, we're all safe inside with our computers. And I'll talk to you about arguments. Thank you for your kind attention.